to support utility customers broadly, but most specifically to support those working with vulnerable communities that are at higher risk of experiencing housing and energy insecurity. The Utility Reform Network, or TURN, has been at the forefront of consumer advocacy related to energy and telecommunications for over 45 years. Our work is focused on ensuring that everyone in California has access to safe, affordable, and reliable electricity and telecommunications. When we say telecommunications, we mean wireless and wireline phones, as well as internet and other forms of communication. Through advocacy focused at the state legislature and the California Public Utilities Commission, or CPUC, TURN employs our legal and research team, as well as our organizing, communications, and communication strategies to protect consumers and to fight to ensure that everyone in California has access to safe, affordable energy and communication. To learn more about TURN, please visit our website at www.turn.org. So welcome again, everyone. My name is Constance Slider-Pierre. I'm the organizing director here at TURN. I'm co-facilitating this training this afternoon with my colleagues, Gabriela Sandoval and Jorge Rivera. Gabriela and Jorge, would you like to introduce yourselves and say hello?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela Sandoval. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives with the Utility Reform Network. I'm so happy to see some familiar names out there and glad everyone can join us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jorge Rivera. I'm one of the newest additions to the TURN team, and I am in Southern California. Pronouns are he, him, his, and I am the organizing and advocacy coordinator. Great to be here.
Also joining us today, I just would like him to say hello, is our executive director, Mark Tony. Did you want to say hello, Mark?
Mark Tony, he, him, his. I'm executive director of TURN. And I just want to welcome everybody to this series of trainings. Thank you. We hope you will get a lot out of it to be able to support your communities.
We also, want to know who's joining us today, and we have a tremendous amount of folks that are on the line and joining us, so we can't go through introductions as we normally would with the in-person training. But we would just ask if you take a moment to use the chat feature to say hello. Give us your first and last name, your organization and title, and let us know why you showed up here today. And if this is your first time on Zoom, the chat bubble is located on the bottom of your screen. Just click on the bubble, and the chat will appear on the screen to your right. All right, I want to follow up with a few additional housekeeping items. This session is being recorded. This is our first time offering this online training platform. So we will be assessing the quality of the training video before releasing it. This may mean that it will take us a little time to get this training up and to all of you, but please stay tuned. We will send everyone who's registered for this training a notification when that training is available. And finally, because this is new for us, this online training platform, we do want to just ask that you be patient with us as we work through any technical issues that we might have today. All microphones have been muted during the training. We have reserved 15 minutes following our presentation for questions, but please do feel free to put questions in the chat and chat with folks while the training is going on. Jorge is there in the chat and will be monitoring for questions or any tech issues that you have. And we will follow up with anyone who asks questions that we do not get a chance to answer during our hour together. So now we're going to jump right into training. So the COVID epidemic or pandemic has created a new paradigm in which we are all forced to work and live very differently. In March, in response to the pandemic, Governor Gavin Newsom instituted a state of emergency in California. This state of emergency allowed government agencies, including schools and public health departments and others, to implement safety and protection orders in response to the pandemic to support and secure public health and safety and security. What this means, the CPUC, or the California Public Utilities Commission, who's responsible for regulating investor-owned utilities, water companies, telecommunications companies, as well as transportation, acted immediately following the governor's orders to put protections in place for families in California. And what this order does is provides protections for residential and small business utilities customers. The protections covered regulated electric,
cubre los servicios de gas, telecomunicaciones y electricidad. En esta presentación vamos a enfocarnos en estas protecciones.
Electricity, water, and telecommunications. You'll see on the presentation there is an asterisk for telecommunications, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move through this presentation. The protection order will remain in place through April 16th, 2021. So let's talk about who qualifies for these protections. All residential and small business customers of the utilities regulated by the CPUC qualify for these protections. Regulated utilities are investor-owned utilities, which are utilities that are traded on the stock exchange or have investors. Those companies include, but are not limited to, Pacific Gas and Electric, San Diego Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, Southern California Gas. Telecommunications companies include AT&T, Frontier, Sprint, and Verizon. As I said, this is not a comprehensive list. These are the major carriers here in California. And for a full list of carriers, I encourage you to visit the CPUC website at www.cpuc.gov. So now we're going to talk about what protections are in place for energy customers. And those emergency protections that are now in place include no disconnections for non-payment through April 16th, 2021. This means no energy customer receiving energy from an investor-owned utility should get disconnected now, since the order was put in place in March, through April of 2021. No one should be paying deposits or late fee charges if they are unable to pay their bill, or if they are applying for new service at this time. Any customer needing a payment plan for arrearages or late payments or past due payments should be receiving 12-month payment plans, and those 12-month payment plans should be offered by the utility. And this is a minimum of a 12-month payment plan. This is the minimum standard for a utility to offer, an electric utility to offer. Therefore, customers can and should expect that if they need more, that they should ask for more than a 12-month payment plan. During this time, there will be no income verification for CARE and FERA discount programs. Those are programs that protect low or lower income utility customers. And Gabriela will be talking more about the CARE and FERA programs as we move through this presentation. Finally, for customers who are on CARE and FERA, there will be no requirement for those customers to renew at this time. So if you are on CARE or FERA, or if your client or customer is on CARE and FERA, during this time, there will be no paperwork required of them. Their CARE and FERA status will remain the same through April of 2021. Emergency water protections for customers is a little bit different than energy. And the primary reason for this difference is the amount of regulation that the California Public Utilities Commission has over water companies. For one thing, there are a tremendous amount of water companies throughout the state of California. Some of them are regulated by the CPUC, some of them are not. But the regulation that does exist does limit some of the authority that the CPUC has. Therefore, you will see that while there will be no reconnection fees for customers if they are disconnected from water during this time, there will also be no deposits required for reconnections or reestablishing or establishing services for new customers. However, there is not a mandate in place for 12-month payment plans or any extension of payment plans. However, the CPUC has strongly advised water companies at this time to provide reasonable payment plans. For more information on what that looks like, each customer or advocate would need to contact the specific water company in order to negotiate and discuss that, their rules during this time. And the CPUC has also requested that water companies minimize disconnections from non-payment during this time.
Hi, Constance, will you put thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Gabriela Sandoval, once again, Director of Strategic Initiatives. Those of you who've been at TURN trainings before probably recognize me. I lead our project to reduce shutoffs throughout the state. I am going to share with you right now a few strategies that you can use to help your clients prepare for when the moratorium ends in April 2021. Jorge, would you mind putting the camera back on me and saving the slides for just in a minute? Thank you. Okay, so there are 4 main strategies I want to share with you. 1.
Con ustedes, primero,
los clientes deben de hacer lo que pueden para reducir sus recibos lo más que puedan
todos
entre
los
ahora y abril.
clientes, los usuarios deben de usar
hacer
lo
todo
menos de
lo que
utilidades, servicios, y pueden hacer todo lo que puedan para asegurar que están tomando ventaja de todos los programas que para los que sean elegibles. Deben de optar también la tarifa que les va a ahorrar más dinero. Vamos a hablar un poquito de eso.
The utility company charges you for your energy use. 4, customers should pay what they can, even if it's just a little bit every month. They should pay what they can between now.
Deben de pagar lo que puedan entre ahora y abril 2021. Ahora quiero que vayan a esa barra que está a la parte inferior de su pantalla y quienes quedaron.
Or I want you to give me a thumbs up, a virtual thumbs up from the reactions link in your bar. Can I see? All right, there's quite a few of you. Leaf, I recognize you. I'm glad you could join us. Jane from UCAN, this is great. We have a good group of returning folks here. Okay, so covered my screen. Can we go back to the slide now? So if you've been to one of our trainings, then you know that while TURN advocates for conservation and green energy policies, we do not believe that customers can conserve their way to lower bills. Instead, we hold utility companies accountable for providing safe, reliable, and affordable energy services. However, these are wildly unprecedented times. So I am going to encourage you to encourage your clients to keep their bills as low as possible between now and April 2021. The reality is that we should all be doing our part to conserve energy. So that is the first strategy I will outline today, conservation. There are hundreds of tips for folks wanting to conserve. So I will just give you a handful. Encouraging customers to turn off lights and appliances when not in use, to use surge protectors in order to unplug appliances that use energy when not in use, such as chargers, anything with a light or a clock, and to vacuum the coils on the back of the refrigerator regularly. You'd be surprised what doing this every few months can do for helping your refrigerator function more efficiently. Replacing light bulbs with more energy efficient options such as LED bulbs. And there are a whole host of other possible ways for folks to conserve energy. Now, another very important resource for people who may be struggling to make ends meet are support programs offered by the utility companies. Give me a thumbs up right now if you have previously heard about the CARE program. I see a few thumbs up going on there. That's great. CARE is a program available to any customer whose household income falls below 200% of the federal poverty guideline. So if you take a look at your fact sheets, which I sent to most of you last night, if you hadn't registered yet, don't worry, I'll send them to you as soon as we finish up today. You'll see the actual numbers. The CARE program provides a 30 to 35% discount on electricity and an additional 20% discount on natural gas. So those are savings of $400 to $650 a year. Now give me a thumbs up if you know about the FERA program. Usually it's fewer folks who know about FERA. FERA is a program for people who just make a little bit too much money to qualify for CARE. Customers qualify for FERA if their household has 3 or more members and their household income falls between 200 and 250% of federal poverty guidelines. FERA customers receive a smaller discount, 18% on their electricity bills, but that still adds up to about $140 in savings each year. FERA is tremendously under-enrolled. Fewer than 20% of customers who are eligible for FERA are actually enrolled. And you know, right now, people are really struggling. So we imagine that there are lots of folks who would qualify for both CARE and FERA right now. The applications for these programs can be found online at the utility company's websites. Customers do not need to provide proof of income at the time of applying for the programs. CARE and FERA and Medical Baseline, which we will talk about next, are available to all investor-owned utility company customers, regardless of immigration status, and cannot be used against customers undergoing naturalization as part of the public charge rule. Okay, next on my list there you'll see is Medical Baseline. Give me a thumbs up now if you know about Medical Baseline. And I know if you've been to one of our trainings before, you've heard of this. At Turn, we like to say that Medical Baseline is the best kept secret. Only between 10 and 20% of eligible customers are enrolled for Medical Baseline. Medical Baseline is available to any customer who uses a medical device that uses gas or electricity, or any customer who requires additional heating or cooling to maintain their health. There are no income requirements for this program, and customers can receive the Medical Baseline discount in addition to CARE and FERA. Customers on Medical Baseline may receive discounts ranging from $250 to $550 annually. And right now, because of COVID, customers can fill out the Medical Baseline application online and submit it without having to certify it with their healthcare professional. Okay, next let's talk briefly about cash assistance. How many folks here have heard of LIHEAP? I know some of you are coming from LIHEAP service providers, so I know some of you know this program. Okay, LIHEAP is the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. And this is a program administered by the federal government. It provides small grants and other supports to utility customers. Because LIHEAP is a federal program, some administrators will not make it available to customers who do not have a Social Security number. Another important source of cash assistance are programs run by the utility companies themselves. PG&E has the REACH program, SDG&E has the Neighbor to Neighbor program. The Gas Assistance Fund is available to customers of Southern California Gas. And Southern California Edison has the Energy Assistance Fund. Customers can learn more at the utility company websites. All right, so let's go to the next slide. We're going to talk about rate structures. How many of you know, this is the true question here, how many of you know how your energy is billed? If you know whether or not you are on a tiered rate structure or a time of use rate, put it in the chat box for me right now. I want to see how many of you have actually read your bills. Tiered, TOU, okay, TOU. All right, a few of you know. Oh, it's pretty evenly NEM, so tiered, yes. Okay, tiered, TOU, great. If you work for Turn, you don't count. You don't get credit for this. Okay, wow, tier E1, you even know the exact tier structure. This is great, okay. So the rate structure is basically the way your utility company figures out how to bill you for the energy you use. There are two basic structures, TOU, or time of use rates, and tiered rates. If you are on a TOU rate structure, you are billed a low rate from 9 p.m. at night until about 4 p.m. the next day. These are known as off-peak hours because this is when energy is least used, right? It's nighttime. And it's also when solar energy is most widely available, the hours that the sun is shining the brightest in California. Peak hours between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. or so will be billed at a significantly higher rate. Now, time of use rates were made possible by smart meters. Before smart meters, everyone was on a tiered rate structure. On a tiered rate structure, customers get a certain amount of energy at the lowest rate. Once they use up that amount, they get a second allotment of energy at a higher rate. And then again, once they use that energy up, they get a third allotment of energy at an even higher rate. The idea is that this incentivizes people to conserve energy because the more you use, the higher rates you end up paying. Now, why am I telling you all this complicated technical stuff about rates? Because depending on usage patterns, your clients could save some money if they can decrease their energy usage between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m., for example. Right now, when many of us are sheltering in place at home, we may be able to modify our energy use in order to save money. Customers can sign into their accounts online and compare what their costs would be on a different rate structure than the one they currently have, and then decide if they want to change to one that would cost them less. So I recommend that if you have a client who is struggling to pay their bills, you can walk them through logging into their account online and using the comparison tool on the website to see which rate structure is best for them. Finally, the last strategy I will share with you is that customers should pay what they can, even if it's just a little bit every month. Anything that helps customers come out of the moratorium with less debt is important because we anticipate that hundreds of thousands of customers will be eligible to be shut off by their utility company come April 2021. So keeping debt as small as possible before then maximizes the possibility that the customer will be able to get a reasonable payment plan once the moratorium ends. And remember that now they get a minimum of 12 months for that payment plan. On that note, I will pass the microphone back to Constance to wrap things up and open the floor for questions.
Thank you, Gabriela. So we're going to open up the floor for questions in a few moments. You'll be able to unmute and ask a question, or you can put your questions in the chat now, and Jorge will read them. I'd just like to first thank our interpreters for being here to help make this training accessible. So thank you. I'd also like to encourage and remind each of you to visit our website, www.turn.org, to sign up for our action alerts so you can stay informed and get engaged in our Power at Home campaign to help ensure that no one goes without energy and communication services that are vitally needed to survive and to thrive. And by logging onto our website, you can also help support our work by becoming a member of TURN. Another request is that we've launched this 3-part series, and we really want to make sure that this series is meeting the needs of you all out there doing the groundwork. So we're sending along an evaluation after this training, and we would appreciate your honest and open feedback on how we can improve and expand this training so that everyone in California gets the vital information to support energy and communication throughout California. Finally, I'd like to remind you that next week we have a very important training coming up. It will focus on the new disconnection rules that happened just a few months ago that have been put in place to protect customers well beyond the moratorium ending in April. These disconnection rules that have been put into place by the CPUC have been hard fought for 5 years by TURN and other advocates, and they put in place protections that help seniors, children, folks experiencing extreme cold weather and heat, as well as protections for people who are experiencing public safety power shutoffs. So please be sure to register for that training, which will happen next Wednesday, and a follow-up training focused on medical baseline. Finally, I would just like to thank our funders who make this training and our work possible. So a big thank you to the California Endowment, the Dean and Margaret Lesher Foundation, Dignity Health, San Francisco Foundation, and Y&H Soda Foundation. And now our chat room and you can unmute yourself if you'd like to ask the questions. We're here for you.
Hello, this is Nora with Central California Legal Services. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
I can hear you.
Oh, I just wanted to say this is a good intro to anyone that's not familiar with the services that you provide and also the services that the CBOs that are in the community provide, for example, like the Changes program. It's good information. It's a good refresher course for those of us that have been doing this for years. And I just want to praise you that it was well put, clear, understandable. So I look forward to the next one next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora.
Thank you, Nora. I did see a question from Renee Crawford about municipals. So there are many, many municipals throughout the state. And if, you would have to contact them directly to find out what kinds of supports are available currently to their customers. In the packet of materials that I emailed out last night and that I will follow up with another email with those materials after we finish today, there is a fact sheet on how to handle municipal utilities.
Thank you.
There's a comment in the chat by Jane, and it says, here in San Diego there are 24 different water agencies, none of which offer bill assistance to our knowledge. Therefore, we advise people to pay water bills first and look into the assistance programs for electricity like FERA, LIHEAP. This prevents water from getting shut off and allows them to get help with electricity. Thank you for the comment. One question in the chat, does the packet have the PowerPoint that was used in this presentation?
It does. I believe I included it in the email last night, but again, I will resend it again after we wrap up. There's another question also about planned outages. Will it be covered how to help residents get their power turned back on in the event of power shutoffs by PG&E due to wildfire danger? Constance, can I hand that one off to you since you have firsthand experience?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here with you all today. I have firsthand experience. I have been shut off 3 times in the last 7 days. And only one of them has been a public safety power shutoff. The other 2 were unplanned shutoffs without notification. I will say that we will be covering, based on my experience, I'm going to tweak a little bit of the information that I give out. I was on a good call this morning to kind of give folks a little bit more strategy to help support not only the planned shutoffs, but also unplanned shutoffs. And also we'll be covering a program that has rolled out, the SKIP program through the CPUC being administered by the utilities that can help folks who are particularly on medical baseline get backup energy in the way of a backup battery to support them during this time. But we are also including some safety tips on what you can do to keep yourself safety if a backup battery just isn't in your future right now. So please do join us for our training. Most of that will be covered in the 3rd training on medical baseline because it is related to medical baseline. So please sign up for that training and we'll talk more about strategies as well as programs to support folks experiencing shutoffs. Do we have other questions, comments, thoughts?
Okay, I'm gonna make a pop quiz next week and make sure everyone has checked their bill to find out what kind of rate structure you're on. So if you've signed up for our training next week, come prepared.
Yes, and if you haven't already registered for the next trainings in the series, I've placed links in the chat so that you can register there. And I will also be linking in the chat the link to our evaluation form. If you could please take just a few minutes to fill that out, your input would help us improve on these trainings and information that we can provide you all and help support you all in the fight for energy justice.
And I don't know about you all, but we're happy to stay on the line. If there are folks who have questions, please stay. We'll stay as long as needed to. But I also love when I'm able to get a little bit of my time back in my day. And so we appreciate you blocking out an hour to be with us today. Please do stay if you have other questions. Otherwise, again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for the work that you do. And we really do want to hear from you. Tell us what information and tools around energy and telecommunications or what TURN can do to help support the very important critical work you do on the ground to support our communities. And again, I just would like to thank our funders, the California Endowment, the Dean and Margaret Lesher Foundation, Dignity Health, San Francisco Foundation, YNH Soda Foundation, and my co-facilitators, Gabriela and Jorge, for being here with us today. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.
Could I ask another real quick question?
For sure.
Thank you. Thanks for answering my question about the shutoffs. I was just hoping to find out while I'm here, do you all have any information about potential like upcoming shutoffs? So you mentioned that you experienced some yourself, Constance. I live in Oakland, and I'm part of East Bay DSA, and we're trying to help folks like get their power turned back on in the event of shutoffs in the Bay Area. So yeah, do you know if anything is expected in like the near future regarding that?
So yeah, there are PSPS events scheduled for as early as today through Friday, and they are expecting to start sending out notices on Friday for potential shutoffs over the weekend. Right now, I am not on the list for that shutoff. But it is changing, and it was downgraded from some 63,000 homes that would be affected to some 43,000 overall, and that is across the PG&E territory, not just, you know, obviously here in Oakland.
Yeah.
I can put in the chat let me grab it really quick. Information on where folks can find information on the PG&E website, since you're here in the Bay Area, to check and see if they're on that list. Let me just grab it really quickly.